All right, ladies and gents, boys and girls, we are definitely mixing it up today, if you know what I mean. We're definitely mixing it up. Welcome to another episode of What's Brewing. We've got a spicy one for you today. Solo one. We are live. So, and you know, every time we go live with these podcasts, when we don't have a guest, guess what? The chat. You guys are the guests. So I'm looking forward to this one. I've been stewing on this all week. But before we get into what we're talking about today, let me say hi to everybody in the chat. Also, we got a hype tray over on Twitch. Bro! The Landy Lodge subscribing at 64 months. That's a long time. That's an insane long time. Yo, thank you, Landy. And Drew dropping a 55-month arena saying, whatever mixtape we're listening to, I hope the song's fire. Oh, there's definitely a fire. All right. It's more like a dumpster fire, but, you know, there is a fire happening. Let me see who else is in here. We got Drew in here. Bambina said, I'm set for the mixtape convo. Oh, yes, we're talking about mixtape today, by the way. I have some thoughts. A lot of thoughts. A lot of things I want to say. Landy said, looking forward to a great show. Good to have you here, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Who else we got in here? I think I saw Mo in here. What up, Mo? Good to see you. Hope you guys are doing well. And LNX Rocks also said, so we're just mixing it up today. We are. Amen, brother. We are. Dark Dragon, also in the chat. Good to see you. Okay. And by the way, in case you guys are wondering, the music that was playing earlier, that's from Octopath Zero. I'm still playing it. I've been chipping away at it at work. It's a fantastic game, mainly because, yes, it is a video game, right? I think I am going to do a stream of the finale of Octopath Zero. I'm pretty much at the end. 140 hours deep, my dude. It's amazing. That might be happening sometime in the next month or so. Just letting you guys know. Okay. Enough me yapping. Let's talk about what's brewing, which is funny because guess what? I'm just going to be yapping more. Let me pull up. I've got 8 bajillion tabs pulled up. Here we go. We'll start off with this one because I have a lot. We have a lot that we're going to go over. I also want to hear from you guys. Let's talk about what's brewing. So there was this game that dropped last week. It's a little game called Mixtape, okay? Indie game from Annapurna. If you guys have heard of Annapurna before, these guys, I don't know why Matt gets trending. That's crazy. That's insane. Anyway, again, this is live. Anything can happen. They're the team that published Stray, which Stray is actually a pretty good game. Okay, like, you know, Annapurna puts out some good stuff. However, I gotta say, and I've got to get my energy sip because I have been stewing on this for literally a week. I'm just going to tell you right now, if I would have went live to talk about this the moment that all of this discourse was just ramping up, you would have seen an unhinged side of Andy Brew that has never been seen on the internet, okay? It would have been unhinged, so I had to wait. I had to let my thoughts settle. I've let it stew. We're probably going to get a little bit more, you know, we'll see what comes up, but I'm gonna start yapping. I'm going to start just yapping. So this game dropped, and I'm saying game because technically it's a video game, and we're going to talk about that. And it markets itself as a video game, which means, guess what? I'm going to judge it as a video game. You should judge it as a video game because it's marketing itself as a video game. So this game came out, and IGN and all these journalists have been foaming at the mouth at this game, foaming at the mouth, and I'm like, what? I don't even know what this is. I saw a trailer at like a Game Awards or Summer Games Fest. I can't even remember when we saw a trailer for this, and I'm like, I gotta see like what everyone's talking about. IGN, the guy who reviewed this for IGN, gave it a perfect 10 out of 10. They gave it a perfect 10 out of 10. Okay? Just so you guys didn't have to, maybe some of you have, maybe some of you didn't, but I took the time to actually watch a playthrough of this game. People were saying it's 4 hours. It's not 4 hours. It's 2.5 to 3 hours, okay? The game is 2.5 to 3 hours long. And once I'm done yapping, I'm going to address the chat, but I don't know how long I'm going to be yapping for, so please bear with me. It's about 2.5 to 3 hours long. Okay. I watched a playthrough of the game. And I watched a playthrough of the game because it's pretty much the same as just playing the game. There's not really, you could either spend $20 on the game and play through it, or you can watch a playthrough of it. Either way, you're going to get the same experience. Because there's very minimal gameplay. There's very minimal interactions, and I know like there are games out there that are good games that are kind of like this, that have like minimal gameplay, not really a whole lot of interactions, but I'm going to tell you why those games that we're going to be talking about later are better than whatever this is. Okay, this game should have been a movie. It should have been a movie, and I see why this didn't actually go through as a movie, because the game is not really that good in my opinion. And I think a lot of people on the internet agree. Not everybody, right? I think a lot of people on the internet agree. Most of the people who are glazing this as a 10 out of 10 masterpiece, right? That's what people were saying. A lot of them are journalists. A lot of them, and I'm not saying you can't enjoy the game. Like, I want you to hear me now. And I'm going to repeat it again as we go on. I'm not saying you can't enjoy this game. If you enjoy it, good for you. I'm happy for you. But it's a video game. I think I should be allowed to criticize it. And these people who are like glazing it are saying, yo, like, stop criticizing my game, that I'm giving it 10 out of 10. We're going to talk about a little bit of that later as well. I have clips and stuff too that we're going to play. I have no problem people liking this game. I have no problem. Do I think it deserves a 10 out of 10 after watching a playthrough of it? Absolutely not. If it was up to me, I would give it maybe a 4 out of 10. maybe a 4 out of 10. And I'm going to tell you why. And to be fair, these games typically aren't for me. Okay? So, if these games are for you, again, that's fine. I am just struggling to see where the 10 out of 10 comes from, and I'm struggling to see where all the praise is coming from. Like, people are praising this game like it's the second coming of Christ of indie games. And listen, me being a Christian and me reading the book of Revelation, I know that's not how the second coming of Christ goes down, okay? It's way more epic than whatever this is. Anyway, there are people on the internet saying this is not a video game, which I do disagree with. Technically, it is a video game. Okay, technically it is. You use a controller to interact with it. It's available on PC. It's available on PlayStation. I think it's available on Xbox and Switch. So I'm not saying it's not a video game. What I am saying is that it's barely a video game. There's minimal interaction. A lot of the gameplay segments, I don't want to say a lot of, I would say maybe a third of the gameplay segments are on rails, and you can literally sit the controller down and not do anything. Yeah, you can the main character, her name is Stacy. She can jump and she can duck under things while she's running, but there's no fail states. There's no consequence in failing those prompts. Another thing we're going to be talking about later. A lot of the gameplay in this game is just pressing a button or two. so that the character does like one or two things. It's literally pressing a button so that the character moves. It's pressing a button so the character sweeps leaves in front of a cabin. It's pressing a button so the character hits a baseball. It's pressing a button so the character skips a rock. Okay? I just think it's boring. Okay? I just think the game is boring. Right? And I get what they're going for here. They're going for like a story. They're going for like the narrative experience. And I understand that. And I would be okay with saying, okay, yeah, I see what they're going for. I could see, how this game could be good. I'd be okay with saying that if the story was good, which I don't think it is. More on that later. There's just some weird stuff in this game. A lot of the dialogue is cringy. And people will say, okay, the kids are teenagers. It's supposed to be cringy. I do disagree with that. I think you can write cringy teenagers while making the dialogue feel natural, and the writing and the characters feel believable, but the dialogue does not feel natural, and the characters do not feel believable. Right? And I see Edward Halston here. I want to see what Edward is saying real quick before, and I'm going to address again more of the chat. But Edward is saying, I like this game. Do I think it's a 10? Not necessarily, but I think it's fun. Yeah, I do like the characters and story, absolutely, but is it perfect? No. But no game is, that's totally fine. And Edward, that's a valid opinion to have. It's a valid opinion to have. And I totally respect that opinion. What I am having trouble understanding is, and maybe you can explain this to me. I don't see how this game is fun for me. And I think a lot of people are having trouble seeing how this game is fun. Because I think it's boring. I don't think the characters are believable or even relatable. And I think the dialogue is cringy. The rail segments and some of the gameplay segments, I think they just go on for too long. And Larks brings up a good point as well. This game is supposed to be set in the 90s, but I remember Slater using the word aura in a sentence. That didn't come around until like a year ago, bro. Not even. Like, there's not even really a lot of 90s slang in the game. Okay, anyway, let me get back to what we were talking about. IGN gave this game a 10. They said it was a masterpiece. I don't agree with that. I think there are games like this that actually do this better, right? And I'm going to talk about those games. But if you want to get a good look at some dynamic gameplay, here it is, chat. Here it is. Dynamic gameplay. Tongs, baby. I can't even look at it any longer. I'm actually going to pause it because it's disturbing. Okay. Now, I will say, Drew said, what the freak am I looking at? This is the first 10 minutes of the game, by the way. Okay. The braces, bro. Yeah. So, this is a scene in the first 10 minutes of the game. Now, I will give Mixtape points for it being creative. Okay. I've never seen a video game do this. Bambina said the braces are my 13th reason. That's crazy. That is insane. I've never seen a video game do this. I'll give them points for it being creative. But you cannot tell me that this is fun, is enjoyable. I don't see where the fun is. I don't get it. It's awkward, it's gross, it's weird, and even the people who reviewed the game even said so. So I don't understand how it's a 10 out of... Okay, anyway. This is what annoys me. Things like this annoy me because now, I'm telling you, I never want to see people, after something like this, I never want to see people say that Stellar Blade is a gooner game ever again after this, okay? You want it full screen? Yeah, full screen for you, baby. I'm not going to do that to you. I can't. I'm sorry, I won't. I'll keep it up here for you to see, but I won't do the full screen to you. All right? I can't, and I mean, even the replies, right? This is literally me. Even the people in the replies, bro, are trash, like, and understandably so, criticizing this. I never want to hear that Stellar Blade is a game for gooners ever again, okay? I never want to hear that for some reason Pragmata is somehow catered to, and I have to be careful how I say this. I never want to hear that Pragmata is somehow catered to PDF files ever again, because one of the main characters is an 11 or 12-year-old little girl. All right? I don't want to hear that ever again after this. When you throw in a segment where two teenagers are French kissing, bro, and I get it, I think I want to try to see what they're going for, okay? This is supposed to be Stacy's first kiss, but it's just weird and gross. And it goes on for way too long until the "that's enough" prompt pops up. Okay? These are two teenagers who are in high school, by the way, doing this. Okay? If you have a problem with games like Stellar Blade or Pragmata, but you don't have a problem with this, brother, that tells me everything I need to know. Okay? Because a lot of the same people that criticize those games for stupid reasons will not say a dang word about this. Okay. Let me get these tongues off the screen real quick. Okay, this is, I definitely want to talk about this. I actually need to close that tab because if I look at it again, I'm going to throw up. So the game, like I said, is 2.5 to 3 hours long, which I don't mind. I don't mind short games. I actually like short games. One of my favorite games of all time is Ori and the Will of the Wisps. It's literally, you can beat the game in 10 to 12 hours. It's genuinely a game that I would say is pretty dang close to a masterpiece. I love that game. So good. I would recommend it to anybody. I like short games, okay? I don't hate that it's 2.5 to 3 hours. And I think a lot of the people that are trying to justify this game and what it is and like the 10 out of 10 praise that it's getting are attacking people for saying, oh, you just think it's too short. Or, oh, you think that, because, Megan Ellis is the daughter of the 6th richest person in the world and she's the CEO of Annapurna Studios that, she just bought out journalists to like say good things about the game. That could be true. I don't know. I think there's reason to speculate why that could be true. But what I want to say is this, okay? I like short games. This game is $20. People will tell you, oh, well, the game is only $20. What's the big deal? It should be worth it. It's only $20. It's really cheap. I don't think the $20 price tag is worth it. And that might be a hot take. I don't think the $20 price tag isn't worth it. Maybe $15. I would say $12.99. Here's why. I don't want to pay $20 for something that's barely a game when it markets itself that way. Okay? You can go see a 2.5 to 3 hour movie. You can go get a matinee ticket for $7.99 to go see a 2.5 to 3 hour movie because that's basically what this is. And I guarantee you it's going to be better than this. Okay? $20 is not worth it. Here's also why I don't think $20 is worth it. Right? Hollow Knight Silksong dropped last year also for $20. $20 at launch, indie studio. It's a team of like a handful of people, and they dropped a banger for $20, and it's 30 to 40. You're going to get 30 to 40 hours worth out of Hollow Knight Silksong. Okay? And it's an incredible Metroidvania game. $20, the same price as this. I don't think the $20 price tag is worth it. Now, let me tell you some things, okay, because I am hating on it, right? I will tell you some things that I think are good. Not everything I think is bad. But I want to go over what this person said. And this person's obviously being sarcastic here, but honestly, I think the sarcasm is coming to bite them back in the butt. And I think for a podcast like What's Brewing, I want to like go over like posts and tweets and like talk about what people are saying, what's brewing. I think I want to start doing that more. So we're going to start doing that more. You can see all the tabs I got pulled up here. We're going to do that. So this person is being sarcastic here. They said, I'm very disappointed with Mixtape. They swore to me that there was no gameplay and that you didn't even need to press buttons to play it, but I discovered that was a lie. You have to control the character through a scenario and explore freely. I just wanted an interactive movie, not a game. This person's being sarcastic. This person's trying to be sarcastic. I don't think, but here's the gameplay and the exploration this person's talking about. Okay, here we go. We're moving. We're going where the game wants us to go. We climbed a ledge. We're following our friend Cassandra in the woods. Oh, we climbed. We're about to climb another way. They're thinking about it, and they did it. And then it cuts to this. Which, by the way, this entire segment is on rails, by the way. I don't know if you can like press the X button to jump around. Maybe that's what they're doing here. If that's the case, then yeah, congratulations. You got 1 extra point of interactivity. But to explore and free roam freely, you're just walking around, bro. Like, you're just walking around. There's no items to find. There's nothing to explore. There's a game to see, right? I don't get it. So this person ultimately bit themselves in the butt, not butts. If this person has multiple butts, I'm sorry, but I can understand why you might like something like this. No offense or anything. I don't get it, right? I don't get it. I will say there are some things about the game I like. I think the music's good. It better be good because 90% of the game's soundtrack is licensed music, so it better be good. And I get what they're going for, right? They want the songs that they choose to shape the story, right? They choose the songs and then they write the story around the songs. But the problem is, which I'm going to talk about more later, the story isn't even that good in my opinion, which is why I don't understand how this is getting called a masterpiece. But for a game set in the 80s or 90s, there's not really a lot of like in the 90s, there's not really a lot of like 80s and mid 90s or 90s music. There's no rap or hip hop in this game, which exploded in the mid 80s and the mid 90s, right? I would have loved to see maybe 1 or 2 songs like that. Just my opinion. And the very ending scene, I get what they were going for at the end. So, spoilers for the ending, but Stacy's holding hands with her friend Slater. Slater's like the stoner bro of the story. They're holding hands, and I get what they're going for, right? The text on the bottom says, "Don't let go." And then the don't fades away. And then the text says, "Let go." Because the whole point of this game, the plot of this game, I forgot to talk about it earlier. I should have started with that. But the plot of this game is Stacy's going away to become a music producer or a music supervisor or whatever it is. And she has one last night to spend with her friends. So it's literally just one night to spend with her friends. It's like their last hoorah, YOLO. And it goes through a bunch of different memories with them too and things like that. And the very ending scene is she's holding Slater's hand and then it says, "Don't let go." And then the don't fades and it says, "Let go." And then she lets go. And then he walks away and then she goes her own way and the story ends. Okay, I think that was a nice touch. Here's the problem though. The build up to that didn't pay it off. Okay? Like, it was nice. It was a nice touch, but the build up didn't really pay off because the characters aren't likable. I couldn't get into the characters. And because the story was so all over the place, like all they want to do is get drunk and party and rebel, right? Another thing that we're going to talk about later. Nice ending, but the ending didn't hit for me because the buildup was poorly executed, in my opinion. Talking about the soundtrack again, right? I think the soundtrack's good. Oh, and another thing, I do like the art style. I think the art style was cool. I like the Spider-Verse-esque art style. It's cool, okay? I'll give it points for that. It's still a 4 out of 10 for me, but I'll give it points for that. The thing with a lot of people were also saying is like, okay, well, the game's called Mixtape. The soundtrack is what makes these moments flow together, you know. So the game, you know, and the game is built around the music, which I understand. Okay. With these segments on these rails, there's no fail states. Okay. You can't fail, right? If you press a button wrong, it just keeps going, right? There's really no incentive with these moments on the rails to actually interact other than to see Stacy jump or say something cool, or like to do something cool, right? And I've seen people say, well, okay, you know, the game, you know, the music makes these moments flow, so there doesn't need to be fail states in this game because it would throw off the whole scene. But that's exactly why you should have fail states. If you ask me, okay? There should be an incentive to want to experience the scene like they want you to experience the scene. There should be an incentive for that. If I mess up a slide or I press the wrong button or I fail to press a button, I should fail and the scene should be all out of whack. Because the objective is to experience the scene how they want you to experience. Now, there are segments where you're on a skateboard and you can, like, when you're skateboarding, that's also on rails as well. If you run into a car, it rewinds it. I don't know. I mean, that's like as close to a fail state as it's gonna get. But the first example I think of is like Guitar Hero, right? I'm gonna use Guitar Hero 3 as an example because that's the one that I remember the most. That's the one that I played the most growing up. In a Guitar Hero game, when you mess up on your little Riffmaster controller, guess what? The song sounds terrible, right? So in the same sense, I think the scene should be terrible if you mess up. Or the music should be out of whack if you mess up. I think it should. I don't know. I just think that would give me more of a reason to want to engage with it, something like that. Okay. So I'm not, like I said earlier, I'm not telling you not to like this game. If you like this game, I'm cool with it. But I think it's fair to criticize the game for getting stellar reviews when it's barely a game. Okay. I'm going to take a little break, but I want to see what the chat is saying, and then I'm going to go over some more things. We have so much more to talk about. Okay. I missed out on a lot of chat here. Let's see here. Let's see. Lark says I couldn't stand her writing. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. If they enjoy the game, cool, but a 10 out of 10. See, here's the thing. I don't get where the 10 out of 10 is coming from. I just don't get it. Ruthie said, I woke up from a nap and I saw this on my screen. Sorry, Ruthie. I think you were talking about the tongue scene. Best scene in the game. It's about the journey, man. See, here's the thing with that, right, Bambina? Or, right, that was Mo that said that, not Bambina. You guys are both orange in the Twitch chat, so sometimes, you know, I'm a little dyslexic. Here's the thing with that. Yeah, it's about the journey, but what if the journey sucks? Then what's it about? The braces, bro. Okay. There's different types of games for different types of people. Some prefer on-rails, narratives with little interaction. Some prefer deep, complex RPGs. There's a wide spectrum. And I agree with you. I agree. And I'm not saying, you know, like, and you know what? I could be just completely off my rocker. Maybe this game just isn't for me. Right? I just think it's getting severely overhyped. And for $20, bro, you can watch it for free on YouTube and get the same experience, bro. I had to twist those tongues for 60 seconds to get the trophy for the platinum. A full minute. It was the longest minute of my life. Unbelievable. Oh, okay. Landy says, people got to understand the reason this game is getting hate is simple. Major gaming outlets giving a game like this a 10 sends a signal to the industry that gameplay experiences and innovations don't matter. That's the bulk of it, period. And yeah, this weird crap too. Yeah, so this is why I think it's important to talk about this stuff. The reason why I want to talk about this, and by the way, if you disagree with me in the chat, please let me know. I want to have this conversation. I welcome the disagreement. But this, and Landy brought up exactly why I want to talk about this, okay? The problem is that if you praise mediocre games, you get mediocre prizes, which is just more mediocre games, okay? When publishers see that they're giving this game a 10 out of 10, right, guess what? There are going to be more games that come out like this, okay? And if this is your thing, cool, but I feel like, how do I say this? Okay. I enjoy a mid game every now and then, but I will tell you that the game is bad, even though I enjoy it. Final Fantasy 15 is a perfect example personally for me. It's my second favorite Final Fantasy. It was my first Final Fantasy, which is probably why I like it so much. But I will tell you that game is not good. Do I still love it? Absolutely. There's a lot of things I love about it. There's a lot of things I love about it more than FF16, right? But I will tell you, I will be the first to tell you that there are a lot of things wrong with it. The game, especially at launch, is not good, right? So I can love something, but still acknowledge that, like, yeah, this was not really that good, but I still like it, okay? What these people are doing, and I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna get this tab off of here. We're gonna look at this guy, and we're gonna look at some of these other people who have some things to say. What these people are calling this game a masterpiece. They don't have any criticisms. Like, you're telling me you have no criticisms of this game, bro? None? Not a single one? Because the game is not hitting for everybody. It's actually not hitting for most people. Listen, I was born in 96, okay? I did not grow up in the 90s. But from what I've seen a lot of people say, especially a lot of people replying to posts like these, okay? People who grew up in the 90s, a lot of people were saying they couldn't relate to this at all. There were a lot of things that didn't make sense about this. So I think it's fair to criticize it. Let's see what else the chat is saying. Okay. Let's see. Edward says, there are different types of people who like certain types of games. Some people dislike the bare bones, linear narratives like Mixtape. Yes. Some don't like Stellar Road because they don't get with action combat. One man's 10 is another man's 7. And that's fair. But the problem is, with all of these outlets and all these journalists glazing this game, we're going to see more, sorry if I offend anybody, but we're going to see more slop like this, bro. I genuinely think this game is just sloppy, right? The definition of sloppy is just sloppy, right? My opinion, and I think a lot of people who are fairly criticizing it, in my opinion, share the same opinion. Does this game have any original music? There is, I think, some original music. Some of, like, the in-between moments with the characters, there's, like, music that plays. I want to say it's their original music, but 90% of the game is licensed music. And what's funny is a lot of, like, the original, like, music in the game, it's actually kind of good. Like, I think it's fine, but, like, it's mostly licensed music, right? Okay. Let's see here. Lacking depth to begin with. Yeah, there's no, like, emotional depth. I couldn't find any emotional depth. I couldn't connect with the characters at all. The characters can be unlikable, but then at least they have to be funny or entertaining to watch. Think Always Sunny. Always Sunny in Philadelphia is a great example. Yeah. The characters are unlikable, but they're fun and entertaining to watch. These characters are unlikable, and they're not even fun or entertaining to watch. They don't even... Okay, there was one moment in this game that I can remember that actually made me laugh out loud. There was literally one moment in this game that made me laugh out loud. It was genuinely... I thought it was funny. It's the baseball scene. I think it's a flashback where Cassandra and Stacy are at the baseball field. And Stacy is playing baseball, and she misses a couple of swings. And some random dude is like, "You suck, Rockford!" And then Cassandra's like, "Shut the freak up, Woodley!" And I'm like, it genuinely got me to laugh out loud. It got a laugh out of me. I thought that was funny. But those moments are very few and far in between. Okay? That was the only moment that I could genuinely say was actually funny. Right? I don't want another game like this in the world. I don't either. But because of these people glazing this, we're probably going to see more like this. Like, this is where the industry is headed. We're heading towards a medium where it's like, it's basically a movie, right? Okay, you know what? Speaking of that, let's go to, wait, where is it? Where is it? Which one is it? I think it's this one. Yeah, this is the clip I want to play. So this guy, also Mo said, "Thank you for the bits, by the way. I'm off to the movies at GF." Yo, enjoy the movies, Mo. Thank you. Also Heather, how's it going? I want to talk about this clip. Speaking of the game pretty much being like a movie, right? I didn't even know about this game until we posted about it on Discord. It's been the talk of the town for the last week, Ruthie. Okay, so this guy right here said this. And, okay, listen, I am going to give some of these guys a hard time. To be fair, I'm going to give them a hard time. I'm sorry, but I'm just going to do it. But they're pretty much asking for it, to be completely honest with you. Yeah, the baseball scene was good because of the song. I agree. I thought the baseball scene was okay for the song. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. So this is what this guy says. "This moment will probably live forever with me until I die. I've been thinking about it ever since the day I finished Mixtape. My mouth made sounds when playing this part." This guy's mouth was drooling. This guy's mouth was drooling at this part of the game, by the way. "The buildup of the action, the music, the lyrics, what we're trying to achieve, no notes, perfection." Let's watch it. Let's watch it. I'm not going to play the music because I don't want to get copyright claim, but it's Yesterday's Hero. That's the song. Okay? So here it is. I'll play a little bit of it. Maybe we can get away with it. This made this guy's life, by the way. Okay, I'm not going to play any more of the song. And here she comes. Kicks the football. Oh, yeah, baby. 10 out of 10. I don't know if you need to press a button to kick the football, but I would not be surprised if you did not need to. This scene is going to live with this guy forever. His mouth made sounds when playing it. He thinks about it every day, and it's literally Stacy running through the school on top of school buses, which is super unrealistic, and then she goes and she interrupts the football practice, and she kicks a field goal. And even the music building up to the scene, like, I think maybe this is the payoff he was with the music sync that he was talking about. I don't know about you, but I don't get it. I don't get it. Hey, you know, if this is, you know, game of the year for you because of this, good on you, bro. I don't get it, man. I don't. Ruthie said, "Still waiting for the moment." Me too. I don't get it. I don't get it. Okay, so let's talk about the story. Let's talk about the narrative, okay? And this is going to be a fun one. This is going to be a very fun one because we are going to talk about, which scene is it? I'll get this out of here. Yeah. We're going to talk about the narrative. We're going to talk about this scene. And the context of this scene, too, because the context doesn't make it any better. Okay. There's a story. There is a story. Not a great story, but it is there. The thing that this game is supposed to be good at is the narrative. But that's not even good. The characters aren't likable. The writing is cringe. It literally feels like ChatGPT wrote the dialogue and the script, and you're going to see why in a second. Everything to me is just boring in this game. And the characters have flaws, but they aren't compelling. Like Stacy, yeah, she has flaws, but at no point in this game is there self-reflection, is there conflict. The narrative just lets her get her way. It's the same thing with Cassandra, right? She just does whatever she wants with no accountability. She gets her way. Yeah, they have flaws, but the flaws aren't believable and it makes no sense. So, I'm going to show you what these guys are calling a 10 out of 10, okay? Okay, so we got a fireworks scene. A lot of these moments, too, last for way too long, okay? This one, maybe not way too long, but it's a little bit on the longer side. A lot of these moments overstay their welcome, especially the ones on rails. Okay. Oh, I just realized my desktop audio wasn't on, so you didn't even get to hear the music for the last part. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so context. This is the very end of the game. Okay, they all went to this party that they were throwing in a cabin, an abandoned cabin in the middle of the woods. Okay? The fireworks go off and the cabin catches on fire. Not good.
What are we gonna do?
We could, pour beer on it?
It's too late. This is Spellbound by Susie and the Banshees.
This is another thing that happens all the time in this game. They will be in the middle of a legit dialogue moment, and then Stacey will be like, by the way, this is this song by this person. It's just like, I'm just like, it's so random. Okay.
We broke our promise. Now there is only fire. Let it burn.
So Cassandra's saying let it burn. Let me give you some context. Her dad's a cop. She doesn't like that her dad's a cop and is basically trying to tell her, like, hey, like, some of the, I don't want you sneaking off at night. I don't want you engaging in these juvenile activities. And the Cassandra is rebelling. Okay, this is the climax of the game. Ready? Cabin sets on fire. She says, let it burn, baby. Here come the cops. You won't believe who shows up. You won't believe it. What is this game? You're watching it. You're watching Game of the Year right now. Okay. We're going to watch the rest of this scene. But it's also pushing this narrative, right? Maybe not. I could be wrong, right? And, I don't really get, like, political or anything. It's pushing this narrative that cops might just be bad, all right? Some cops are dirty cops. Yes, there are bad cops, but there's also good cops out there, okay? I don't think her dad is a bad cop. He's just a strict father. Watch what happens. No way!
I want you to understand. This ain't a catastrophe. It's a warning. Daddy, if you trap me here, this will only be the beginnings of my wicked ways. Cause I'm angry and I'm wired and I'm fixing for a whole lot of trouble. If you make me stay here, I'm gonna burn the whole fucking place down!
By the way, this is a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. Okay. Tell me that wasn't one of the cringiest things you've ever heard. When I say I think ChatGPT wrote this dialogue, this is what I'm talking about. And I can't even fault the voice actress. I can't even fault... The voice actress had to put up with some abysmal writing. I can't even fault her for that. But now here she's rebelling against her cop dad, right? Everything is on fire, right? This is her big moment. This is the climactic moment of the game. Oh my gosh, dude. Watch what happens. How do you think her dad's going to respond, chat? If you had to guess, how do you think her dad's going to respond? Yeah, they're literally terrorizing the neighborhood, right? We're going to talk about nostalgia later, but if you, because all of these journalists and all the people who are giving this 10 out of 10 are saying, this game is so nostalgic. Oh my gosh, bro. If you're getting nostalgia from this, I am genuinely concerned about your well-being. I have genuine concern. Anyway. Here's what Dad does.
There'll be patrol cars up and down this road. Get out of here. Go on. Back the way you came.
And?
Well, I guess we have ourselves an understanding.
He just lets her go, bro! What? This is not the 90s I remember. I mean, listen, I didn't grow up in the 90s. I can't speak on that, but that's what a lot of people were saying. Bro, he just lets her go. I don't have to say anything else, okay? When I say this game is not believable, right? The characters aren't believable. The writing is abysmal. This is what I'm talking about. This is the worst. To be fair, I did pick this moment because it is the literal worst moment of the game. But there's so many moments like this that are just cringy and just not believable and not authentic. Let's see here. Let me see what the chat's saying. Edward said, at the very least, I'm glad this game introduced me to songs I wouldn't have been able to find otherwise. Like Monochrome from Lush is a song that is great to relax to. It's got lazy summer vibes to it. A good thing about this game, and you know what? I agree with you. There are some tracks in this game, there are some songs I've never heard, and I'm like, oh, that was actually pretty good. He apologizes, bro. He lets her go. I don't think this game's going to get Game of the Year, but I wououldn't be surprised if it got some awards, okay, because of the reception it's getting. Now, listen to this.
Cassandra, that was amazing.
That was amazing, Cassandra! Oh my gosh, you're so cool! Meanwhile, they caused this.
I mean, are you okay?
I saw death in front of me, and I walked out to meet it.
No, you saw accountability in front of you, and you walked away to avoid it. That's what happened. Okay. We'll come back to this later, I think, maybe. We'll see. Maybe we'll come back to this later. So let's talk about, okay, so I guess I'll touch on this a little bit. I'm not going to talk about this too much, though, because this honestly isn't the big issue, but it could lead to a bigger issue here. The people funding this game are billionaires, right? Yeah, it has the label as an indie game. I don't think it's, bro. Okay, wait. Let's look at this, right? Real quick. Before we get into that, this is also some more dynamic gameplay. You can press buttons to do this in the game, right? And you can do it to the sync of the music, or you can do it out of sync. Either way, it looks really bad. More dynamic gameplay. Somebody, I think, posted this. Look at this. This is them supposedly jamming out. This person said, if Mixtape was a movie, I wouldn't have been able to have so much fun doing this. Somebody, I think, posted this. Let me see if it's the top one. I was dying. Wow, okay, some of those are brutal. But somebody said, man, if this is fun for you, I would love to see your reaction to a T89 calculator. Pressing buttons on a calculator. Anyway, I thought it was funny. Okay, so This game claims to be an indie game. Okay, it's from an indie studio. They're independent. They make their own games. But when your studio is run by the daughter of the 6th richest person in the world, Larry Ellison, Megan Ellison's the one who found Annapurna, right? Yeah, it is a little bit suspicious to call this game indie, right? Is it an industry plant? I think it could be. Megan Ellis was from what I understand, was in the film industry before Annapurna. And my theory is, I bet they pitched this story as a movie and it didn't get funding, or they couldn't get anybody on board. So they were like, okay, we'll just make it into a game, right? I don't know. I think this. I don't know. I have reason to believe. I'm not saying it 100% for sure is an industry plant, but I have reason to believe, because of where this game is coming from, it's not crazy to theorize or make that assumption or make that claim based off of who this game is coming from and where this game is coming from. I don't want to see industry plant games in the gaming industry, right? There was discourse when Expedition 33 came out and when it won Game of the Year, oh, that game's an industry plant. Here's why I don't believe that's true, okay? Because the evidence shows it's the story of where this game came from. We don't really know the story of how this game got made, other than a billionaire's daughter who found Annapurna most likely funded this game. Expedition 33, we know the story. A bunch of ex-Ubisoft employees left Ubisoft, and the director wanted to make his passion project, and that's what they did on a $10 million budget. Okay? I have more reason to believe that Mixtape is an industry plan and Expedition 33 is not, based off of the origins of where it came from. I did see, let me see if I can find it. Hang on, give me a second, because I didn't have this one pulled up. Let me see if I can find, oh gosh. Are we stuttering at all? I really hope not. There was somebody who compared this game to a game that I actually enjoy, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to compare it to some other games that are like this. And it's called The Stanley Parable. Great game, by the way. I'm going to tell you why that's a better game than this game. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find... I found it. Got it. I found the post. Okay. Here we go. Let me switch back real quick. Okay. Let me see what the chat is saying. Australian taxpayer money. Yeah, baby. That's what I've been waiting for. It's a bit suspicious. Also, Casardis, what's good? I'm sorry, I'm missing a lot of chat, but I just have a lot to say, bro. Oh, man. Big risk of a forest fire. Exactly. Exactly. No accountability. Right? Crazy. Uttering the Stanley Parable and Mixtape at the same breath is an absolute insult. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you why. The daughter of Larry Ellison does not own or run Beethoven and Dinosaur, the devs of the game. She's the owner of the public. Yeah, she's the owner of Annapurna. Yeah, the devs are Beethoven and Dinosaur, which I never heard of until this game. I think they made another game called The Artful Escape, which I'm not familiar with. You guys will have to let me know how that is in the chat. But Annapurna published this game, which means Annapurna funded this game. So that's where the suspicion is coming from. Okay, this person said the Stanley Parable is not, and this is making fun of the people who are saying Mixtape is not a game. Okay, this is what this person is doing. The Stanley Parable is not a game. There is no fail state other than restarting the loop, which is just lazy. There are no goals, there are no rewards. It's more like an interactive art exhibit. Okay, I've played the Stanley Parable, and I'm going to tell you why the Stanley Parable is great. because there is fail states. One, okay? There are so many different endings. And the reason why this is more of a game, even though you just walk, and I think, if I remember correctly, there's some platforming, you just walk and you go through doors and you have a narrator talking in your ear. The reason why this is more of a game than Mixtape is because your choices and actually matter. Your choices actually dictate how the story plays out. The route that you can choose to either listen to the narrator and get an ending that way or not listen to him. And the narrator breaks the fourth wall all the time in this game, and it's genius and it's funny. Why? Because the Stanley Parable, the whole point about the game is that it's making fun of things in video games. Right? It's making fun of the idea of like, oh, you know what? The story is taking me that way, but there is this path that I can go down. I'm going to go down there because the story doesn't actually want me to, it's saying, it wants me to go that way, but I'm going to see what's this way. And the narrator narrates and makes fun of that. And you know what else? If I remember correctly, it's been a long time since I played it, but there is a moment in the game where you can end up in like a bunker and there's like a nuclear warhead that's about to go off, and you have a time limit to try to stop the nuke from going on. If you don't, you get an ending. And if you do, I can't remember what happens after that because it's been a long time since I played it. There's also a segment, and it's hilarious in this game, where there is like a small infant child. And it's not an actual child. It's literally like a cardboard cutout of a child on like a stick, and it's like approaching a cardboard cutout of like what's supposed to be flames, and you have to keep pressing the button to stop the baby from approaching the flames, otherwise it like kills the baby. It's not actually a baby, okay? It's not actually a baby. To get an ending, you have to do that for 4 hours straight or something ridiculous. And it's legit like 4 real-time hours. It's hilarious. Also, Princess Ikari, I see you with the raid. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope your stream was well. Okay? That's funny. Interaction. Okay? And you get to explore. And you get to discover things about the game. And the narrator is actually funny and it's interesting. To compare this to Mixtape, where there's very little interaction. The clip that guy posted of, oh, you can explore. You don't actually explore. There's no branching paths in Mixtape, which is fine. It's all linear, but here's what I think. I'm going to tell you what I personally think would make this game infinitely better. Infinitely better, chat. Let me tell you what I think will make it infinitely better. Casarda says the writing is actually good. The writing is actually good in the Stanley Parable. I agree. Getting the same ending because of incorrect choice is technically a fail state if you already got it. It's trying to get another one. Yeah. So here's what I think will make this game infinitely better for me personally. Give me dialogue options that alter the story, especially if it's only a 2.5 to 3 hour game. Give me choices that I can make that's going to affect how the game plays out. This is what games like Until Dawn, The Quarry, Detroit Become Human, Dispatch more recently. This is what those games do, and I think it's good. That's why I think a lot of those games are good, right? They give you dialogue options, okay, that affect how the story plays out. They let you make choices that affect the story. I think this game needed that. That's what Telltale games are great at. And I agree. I'm saying this game, and I'm pointing at the Stanley Parable. Let's go to. I think I closed the IGN review, but we're gonna play some of these other clips. If you give Mixtape something like that, dude, that would make the game so much better for me. I wouldn't be as critical of it as I am. and it would give me a reason to replay it. Okay? Like I said, I don't need to pay $20 to basically watch a movie whenever I can pay $12 or $7.99 on a Tuesday for a matinee to go see a movie that's the same length as this and have a much better experience. Agency, yes! So, I don't want to see the industry go down this route. Okay? I don't want to see us go down this route to where these games that people like Annapurna are publishing and pushing out, and don't get me wrong, listen, I think Stray is a good game because it's actually more of a video game. This game is barely a video game, right? Annapurna did Stray. I think Stray's a good game, okay? Not everything they do is absolutely abysmal, but I'm going to call it out when a game is barely a game, okay? And I don't want to see more slop like this. When money could be, and time and resources could be spent funding something that's actually going to be fun and not boring. I never want to hear people say again, bro, I don't want to hear it again. I never want to hear people say that a game like God of War is a walking simulator ever again after this game. I never want to hear people say The Last of Us is a walking simulator after this game. And you know what? And I can't believe I'm saying this. I can't believe I'm about to do this. This game has me so scorched earth right now that I'm actually about to defend The Last of Us Part 2. Okay? I can't believe I'm actually about to do this. So for those of you who don't know, I love the first game. I love The Last of Us. The first game is great. Okay? I hated The Last of Us Part 2 because I hated the story. I hated what they did with most of the characters in that game. I just hated the story. I just hated what they did with it. But you know what? The Last of Us Part 2, guess what? I finished it. You want to know why? Because the gameplay was actually fun, and I thought the gameplay was slightly better than the first game. This game got me defending The Last of Us Part 2. I cannot believe we're here. Okay. You can have a video game with a mid to pretty much bad and non-existent story and not likable characters and have good and decent gameplay and the game still be decent and the game still be good. However, if you have a game that has a decent story, maybe even a good story, but the gameplay sucks, guess what? That is not a good game! Okay. Let's see what some of these guys are saying. Let me make sure I covered all my bases. I think I covered most of what I wanted to talk about. And we are going to talk about nostalgia in a second. And why this game, I think, is not making people nostalgic. It's giving people fake nostalgia. And we're gonna talk about it. Let me see what the chat's saying. I'm going to get caught up here. Okay. Gameplay is king. I agree. In a video game, gameplay should be king. Right? Resources being put towards something else is really the important part. Yeah. FF13 is finally off the hook. I can't speak for FF13. I haven't played it yet. Have not played it yet. Manufacturer nostalgia. Yes. That's what this is. Manufacturer nostalgia is exactly what this is. Okay, let's play this again. Let's see why these guys think, and let me make sure I actually have my volume up this time. Why these guys think it's a masterpiece.
You start this game up, and immediately, I'm just infatuated with it. Pretty soon, you won't be listening to music. You'll be listening to who you were. And
I really hope you weren't somebody who was burning cabins and getting away with it.
that, I just got chills saying it. You set in, and that is the thesis statement of this video game. I can't say it's anything but a masterpiece. This, to me, is a 10 out of 10 on the Kind of Funny scale.
This is a 10 out of 10. You know, this is a masterpiece. This is a game that I don't know if there's ever been a game I've played that I'm like, I could recommend this to anybody.
There is a level of something there in the subject matter that weirdly isn't for me. Like, I'm not connecting with it on as deep of a level as you guys, and it might be era, it might be age, it might be like I did not grow up as a white kid in the 90s, right? Yeah. That said, I still think it's a very special game that I recommend to anybody.
I would not recommend this game to anybody. I would not, bro. They're saying it's a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. It's literally a masterpiece. Okay, and you're gonna see a pattern here. And I'm not going to play every single clip from every single journalist, everybody who's been reviewing this game. But the pattern is people are going to say, oh, this game is so good and it's a masterpiece, but they're not going to tell you why. They will not tell you why it's good. They will say it's fun. They won't tell you why it's fun. I can give you specific examples, and I have, on why the game is not good and why it's not fun. Or at least why I don't think it's good and why I don't think it's fun. Okay? You're going to see a lot of that. They will not tell you why. They will just say, oh, this game is good. I don't want to understand why you're criticizing it. Stop being critical of it. Let me enjoy it. And listen, I'm cool with letting people enjoy video games that you enjoy. Cool, whatever. But I'm starting to see a pattern here. And I'm going to call it out when I don't think a game is good. I criticize my favorite games of all time, bro, because I want to see better. Kingdom Hearts 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, but bro, the level design is garbage. One of my favorite games of all time, the level design sucks. Okay? I rag on it all the time. I still love it. But I say these things, you should be criticizing the games that you love, even the games that you call a masterpiece, right? I called Expedition 33 a masterpiece, but I did have a couple criticisms that I voiced about the game, okay? The Act 3 pacing, for example. We're not going to get into that. It's not an E33 podcast. But I'm just saying, you should criticize the games that you love and that you're giving. Even if you give it a 10 out of 10, I guarantee you can. There's something that could be better, right? And I'm not saying, okay, go and nitpick and look for things. And sometimes like that does happen, right? But come on, bro. I can tell you way more things that are bad about this game than things that are good. Okay, I want to go to this guy right here. This is a 9-minute video this guy posted. We are going to watch the whole thing. You know what? I'm not going to do it at full screen simply because I don't want, anyone coming after me and being like, oh, this game's like, this guy's taking my content, even though it is fair use. I'm not going to do it full screen. Just, I know how people are with things like this and copyright and stuff like that. Anyway, we're gonna listen to this guy. I'm going to play the whole thing and I'm going to kind of butt in. But this is going to be the same thing. This guy's going to tell you why Mixtape is a Game of the Year contender. At least that's what the post is setting out to be, right? This is the impression I'm getting. He's speaking for 9 minutes. I better hear why this game is a Game of the Year contender. Can we increase speed? Can you actually increase speed on, oh, you can. Let's do, I don't want all the dialogue to be lost. Let's do 1.5 and see how that goes. Let me see here. This same website also claims only a few people care about written game reviews. The content creators who accuse IGN and other sites of misleading people or real taskmasters of the modern era. Yeah, and here's the other thing too. It's like, okay, yeah, I give IGN flack because they're so inconsistent with their reviews, but it makes sense because they have 40 different people reviewing games. Okay, you're all gonna have different tastes. They're all going to have different things that they enjoy, but that's why you can't take a lot of these big outlets seriously. Bro, they gave Mixtape a 10 out of 10, but they gave Mouse PI a 6 because there were too many cheese references in a game about mice. Where is the criticism when every other 5 minutes of the game, the kids are saying they want to get drunk and find booze? They also gave Concord a 7 out of 10. Okay, let's watch this.
What's good, everybody? It's Khalif here. I just wanted to jump into the conversation around Mixtape. I've been seeing After seeing
I'm gonna put it at 1.25 speed. Let's do this.
So many takes this week. First of all, I just want to say I was
Screw it,
right.
I'm going full screen.
Second of all, I was right. Third, man, this game is really, really good.
So he said, first of all, I was right. Second of all, I was right. Third, this game is really, really good. You have a good one, Ruthie. Have a good one. Okay.
This is definitely a 10 out of 10. This is probably one of the best games I've played this generation in an actual way. Like, this hits so many different levels, especially as a 80s and 90s kid that I feel were so good when I first got a chance to check it out.
Tell me how. Tell me how. Why? Tell me why the game is good. Tell me how it hit on so many levels. It's a 9-minute video.
At Summer Games Fest last year, and was thinking, this may be a generational game in terms of the way that it is translating a very, very distinct experience that is universal into a game format for a lot of different people. So I've seen, I'm not going to go into the details of why I think the game is so good. Besides, the music is fantastic, the art style is beautiful. Beethoven and Dinosaur continue to make some of my favorite games on the planet.
I agree with that.
But it winds up being, those very specific moments that harken back to my childhood that really brought this game home for me in a special way. Getting a chance to feel that whimsy that was in the three characters in that game, getting a chance to understand what it's like to have that moment in your life when you're transitioning from your high school days to whatever's going to be your college years. Those are, kind of universal ideas and ideals that happen within a space. And I think those are translating super, super well. I think, even from the way that the graphics kind of come through in terms of UI, right? Like, a lot of folks are talking about this being something akin to a John Hughes movie, which is
a lot of people are saying.
Movie that I loved when I was growing up as a kid. It was that kind of adventures in babysitting.
Yes, because it should have been a movie. Again, I don't. Some of these guys just set themselves up to just get ragged on, right? I usually don't. I'm not like that, but listen, if you're setting yourself up for it, I'm going to take the bait and I'm going to rag on it because, and you're going to hear, he's going to say a whole lot of nothing for the next 7 minutes.
A little bit later on, the high fidelity versions of it, or, even National Lampoon's, the vacation movies, or one of my favorites, which is I Can't Hardly Wait. As a kid who grew up in, watching movies like that and those experiences, the game resonates really, really deeply with me, especially with a soundtrack that is, there are songs in this game that I don't necessarily connect to because they aren't a part of my growing up. But with the way that media works, and especially the ways it worked in as a kid, you were kind of connected to some of those pieces through osmosis. Like, you were seeing those things kind of come through in the media you were engaging with. And it was great to be able to see folks, nail all of the genres that were there. And there's certain points when you can tell.
What genres? Tell me. Tell me why. Tell me why this is a Game of the Year contender.
The design team knew they had a banger on their hands when they specifically picked very certain songs for moments. There's this moment that there are a couple moments in the game where I was like, oh, snap, like, y'all did it. You did the thing that I was hoping you would do, and you nailed it. And my favorite was the Shy Lights song.
I don't even remember when that is.
Moment within the game, and I was like, oh, see, this tells me that you have a really good, diverse understanding of how music is supposed to hit in a space. And as a person who thinks about art and creates with music in his mind all the time, this was a perfect game for me in that way and in those ways.
So he's saying, like, oh yeah, there's so many like moments in the game where the music just hit. He's not going to tell you any of them, and he touches on one. I don't even remember the moment he's talking about, mainly because I don't recognize like the artist or the song that he's talking about. He's saying the songs are good. He's not saying the game is good. Great observation, Drew.
There have been some conversations around like why isn't hitting with certain people, and I think that's good. I think that's fantastic. You have to make really dope art. It shouldn't be necessarily something that everyone hits for. But when it does hit, it hits really, really good. I think, there's been a couple of discussions around, and I think Blessing Adeoye Jr., shout out to Bless, had a conversation on Kind of Funny that spoke to why he wasn't necessarily connecting with him.
That's the clip that we just listened to that he's referring to.
And I can't assume why, right? Like, we all have different experiences. I do know that he is much younger than I am, so I think, there's a version of that moment in history from a media perspective that might have just passed him because he wasn't even born yet. So like there are parts of that musically might not hit, and kind of stylistically might not hit for him. And also, there's been a conversation around race in this thing, which I think is also very, very important. I think it's a smart conversation to have, and it's a thing that I, as a person, and a lot of other folks, when we are making media, and making content are constantly thinking about, right? The conversation around audiences and experiences.
The main characters are 3 white kids, by the way.
Are paramount to the way that we think about who things are for, how do they hit, and how do they connect with people in a real way. And you have 3 young white suburban kids who are having their angsty moment. And, you know, as a person who grew up not liking things like Dawson's Creek because of the way that they kind of faux teenaged these adults into language and verbiage that didn't really necessarily feel like it was written for them. It very much felt like adults writing for kids. There is some of that here, but it doesn't feel the same in terms of
There's a lot of that here. You can tell that these people who wrote this game, who wrote this story, who wrote the dialogue for these characters, who wrote these characters, bruh. Dude, from what, again, I didn't grow up in the 90s. I was born in 96. But from what the general consensus is saying, and you're going to see a lot of like, you know, you're going to, in a lot of these posts, you're going to see a lot of replies and stuff. It feels like it's a bunch of people who are out of touch with the 90s and out of touch with what it was like to be a teenager wrote this. Like, apparently threatening domestic terrorism while avoiding accountability is nostalgic. Nostalgic!
Understanding what these kids are kind of coming to the table with. It is cringy. It has those moments where you're like, no young person would say this in this way. But I think it does it in a way where it's consistent. It does it in a way where the characters are believable. And it gives space for them to be as human as they possibly can in a moment where a lot of games and a lot of narrative spaces don't allow for that in those ways.
I mean, you saw, I don't have to play the clip again. I don't think the characters are believable. I don't think so. I don't get it. And the game doesn't really give them that much time to breathe because they're always going from one segment to the next. They're going from one memory to the next. There's no time for these characters to develop. It's a 2.5-hour game. So I don't know what he's talking about. I don't think IGN or even read the reviews think Mouse PI looks great. I can't wait to jump into it. It's good. I'm having a good time with it. I am playing it, by the way. Not on stream, just in my free time. Finding your amazing content through E33 highlights, your reaction to Un Via Tamir. I'm never going to say that right. I will never say it right. But hey, welcome, Edward. Glad you enjoyed the E33 stuff. Let's see here. Reminder, this game was made by 12 people at Beethoven and Dinosaur. And that's fine, but like Silk Song was made by 5 people at Team Cherry. You know? They sold that game for $20 at launch as well. It's a 30 to 40 hour game. You know. I feel like the Artful Escape had more gameplay than this, released in 2021. I don't know anything about it. You'll have to let me know how it is. Yeah. Anyway, so a bunch of yapping about nothing and a bunch of yapping about things that don't make sense.
The last part of this conversation for me is, you know, what I thought of specifically while demoing this game the first time and when talking to the team for the first time and then getting a chance to play through the full game is I love this game. This game is really, really good.
Tell me why you love it. Give me specific examples, please. I'm begging you. Oh my gosh.
What I do want is to see more stories like that that I can connect to and that haven't been spoken through and haven't been shared.
So now he's going to talk about race for a couple minutes here. And listen, like, I'm not going to disagree with him. It's like, yeah, of course. Like, representation in games is good. But like, what does this have to do with Mixtape?
And perspectives that haven't been shared. And I don't think every game has to be for everybody, but when we think about representation, I think of how many coming of age stories that are in that age group that have people who look like me in it. And there are very, very few. And if they are, they don't get a chance to have that whimsy that's attached to it. So for example, you know, coming of age stories are Menace to Society, The Wood. There's a bunch of different versions of that coming of age story that have been in movies, but some of those, more specifically, always, especially when it comes to Black and brown kids, has this level of growing up through tragedy or growing up through
the sunglasses and
hardship, or growing
outside
up
crazy.
through, you know, really tough times, and you having to survive through it as opposed to just living through it as a kid just going through the motions. I want to see that story in games be told.
So he's saying how he wants to see more, you know, more like representation in like coming of age stories. Like, I don't disagree with him, but why? What does that have to do with Mixtape? Why does that make that's what I don't understand.
There's a lot of that where we don't get to be allowed to be kids in the same ways that other folks get allowed to be kids in media. So it brought back so many memories of like what I was like as a kid growing up in the Bronx and getting a chance to explore and live through those seminal moments of my first kiss, or what does it look like for, you know, you getting into trouble and causing trouble, you know, in ways that don't feel like they are going to be a demarcation on your entire existence, or, you know, stereotypically tied to you in ways that don't get tied to other people.
If you get yourself in trouble, you know, there's probably a reason why you're in trouble. This, you know what this game caters to? It caters to people. Because people, okay, like I'm bringing up the Pragmata thing again. People are being ridiculous for saying that Pragmata is a game that caters to PDF files, which is not true. Not true at all, right? Okay, if you're gonna say something like this, I'm gonna make a claim like this. This game caters towards people who you know what? No, I can't even say that. Hold on. Okay, I gotta be really smart about what I say here. There are some things maybe I just shouldn't voice. I'm gonna bite my tongue on that one. But it does cater to people who it's like, you're rebellious and you want to avoid accountability. Like, that's what it seems like. There's a Gasparoni, trust me, there's something else there's a lot of things I want to say. All I'm going to say is maybe this game, and I'm going to do it on a different screen, maybe this game didn't click with me because I actually had a pretty good childhood growing up. Okay, let's go on to the next thing.
So I think the beauty of Mixtape right now is the fact that it is bringing something very special to...
I know that makes me sound insanely privileged. Like, I'm sorry. I didn't want to say it, but I did. It's what I was thinking. I don't know. Like, I don't remember growing up like this. I grew up in a good Christian home, okay? Like, I wasn't allowed to watch Harry Potter, you know? I wasn't allowed to, like, do certain things. But you know what? Like, I came out, I think, pretty okay. And it seems like this guy came out okay, too. You know? So that's why I'm just like, I'm not criticizing him as a person. He seems like a good guy, you know? My childhood was Blue's Clues and SpongeBob, not burning cabins to the ground and, you know, searching for booze every 5 minutes. And I know some high schoolers had that experience, and it's fine. I get it, you know? And maybe you can relate in that way, but like some of the stuff is just not relatable.
The world
let me go back
a demarcation on your entire existence, or, you know, stereotypically tied to you in ways that don't get tied to other people. So I think the beauty of Mixtape right now is the fact that it is bringing something very special to the world in a way that feels good, makes people remember their childhood in a way that was fond, and especially in a pre-internet or kind of cuspy internet way. But also, it is just a banger of a game that looks good, feels good, and sounds good in a way that we haven't seen in a while. And that's been really nice and refreshing to see. So all the folks who are out there who were...
Okay, so again, he's telling me he's telling us, hey, yeah, the game is good. It's refreshing. It's something we haven't seen in a while. He's not telling us why. Also, Trousers, what's good? Mixtape is catered to people who weren't popular in high school. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. And that's totally fine. And like I said this at the beginning of the podcast. If you like this game and you relate to it, good on you. I'm just saying, I don't get it. I think the game is boring. And like, I'm criticizing the game. My main criticisms are with the game and with how people are reviewing this game, because this is something that we've been seeing for so long, where like these outlets and these people who are like getting review copies and go flying to these places to check out these games. It's like you're telling me it's good, but you're not telling me why. I want to know why. I want to know why. Now he's gonna address the haters. Me, right? Somebody like me.
We're mad about kissing scenes because you never kissed a person. I'm sorry.
Let me rewind that real quick.
Who are out there who were mad about kissing scenes because you never kissed a person.
You're mad about kissing scenes because you never kissed a person. Okay, I'm not even going to play the clip again. I played that at the beginning, and I cannot bear to watch it again. But I am pretty sure, even with my first kiss, I don't remember going like this. I said I wasn't going to play it again. You're getting... No, we had the first kissing scene at home version. I don't remember that, bro! Like, what are we talking about? That moment in that game was for people who never had a kiss. Okay, let's see what else he has to say.
I'm sorry. For all the people who don't understand that walking sims are games, I'm sorry.
I understand that walking sims are... He literally just admitted that Mixtape's a walking sim, by the way. Okay. I'm not saying it's not a game. I'm saying it's barely a game. Let's continue.
Sorry. For all the people who don't understand that you can make things that don't necessarily resonate with you because you haven't lived a real life.
This game is catered for people who probably haven't lived a real life anyway.
I'm sorry. It's not our fault that you haven't figured it out. And literally, I'm in the grass because I'm touching it. Maybe you should try the same thing too. So anyway, much love to you all. Peace out. See you soon. Mixtape is 10 out of 10. Generational banger. Peace.
Okay, so you heard it from him. Mixtape's 10 out of 10. Generational banger. Game of the year. He gave all the reasons why he thought it's game of the year. He could be projecting. I don't know. Okay, I don't want to give him too hard of a time, but it was too easy, right? He also has an entire podcast. It's the Spawn on Me podcast. I've never heard of this guy, by the way, until recently, right? Never heard of him until recently. And this is not the podcast. This is a different clip I'm about to play. But I did listen to that dude, that Khalif, that dude. I listened to his whole podcast on Mixtape. The whole podcast wasn't about Mixtape. A good chunk of it was. It is just as insufferable as you think. It's actually even more insufferable because he actually goes into and I don't have a clip from it because I'm really just not going to play it. I'll just put this on the screen for now. But he goes into why, it's all the same stuff. He doesn't talk about why the game is good. What he attacks is the people who are saying, oh, people Mixtape is an industry plant, it's funded by a billionaire, blah, blah, blah. So he attacks those people by saying, well, I saw, the PR kits that Annapurna sent out. Then he breaks down the price of all the items in the PR kit that they sent out. And then he's like, oh, well, this really only adds up to about $200. You can't buy a reviewer's opinion for $200, even if you send out 100 of them or 200 of them. Okay, listen. If I was the daughter to the 6th richest man in the world, right? Whether I spend $200 or $2 million on a PR kit, okay? The amount of money, I don't think matters, right? I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. I had another point that I wanted to address with that. I completely forgot what it was. It's not in my notes. But what I'm saying is he's saying oh yeah, there's no way it was only $200. There's no way that these outlets were bought out. That their opinions were bought out. What's the difference between that and I don't know, people have sold their soul for less, bro. I'm just saying. Now you're getting conspiracy Andy, which is a side of Andy you guys don't see often, okay? When you get the What's Brewing podcast, the solo pods, you're going to get conspiracy Andy. Anyway. So he goes on, he talks about that. It's like, whatever. And then at the end of like his mixtape segment, he says, you know, like, the people hating on this game just don't know what fun is. You're saying this game is fun. You have not told me how this game is fun. I'm saying this game is not fun, and I've given you multiple reasons of why it's not fun. So I think these guys right here, they talk about, I don't even know if I really want to play this. I was going to play it.
Yeah, exactly. I have noticed there's a bit of a trend.
This is Indie Gamer, the Indie Games podcast. I just heard of these guys recently too. But they are going to say that the voice acting is fantastic.
The Annapurna games, obviously, they have, we already knew that anyway, but Annapurna, they do focus on story games, tend to, don't they? Like,
they go for like more art house, style indie projects. Like that's what they do.
Exactly.
They've always done that.
Same with this one, yeah.
Same with this one. So yeah, I don't understand why they, why are we, isolating? And if you look at Mixtape,
they're gonna say, I don't even know if I'm on the right timestamp to be honest. I kind of pulled this one up last minute, but they're gonna say I don't understand why all this discourse is happening. Essentially,
I think, like on Open Critic, it's like an 87.
Yeah.
Is that like? I mean, that's a great score, but
yeah,
it's not like it's 96. Is it? Do you know what I mean?
I know.
Like,
it was. I think this game would have been really high because at one point it was so high, and then all of a sudden this kind of craziness just like came out of nowhere, didn't it?
It didn't come out of nowhere. People who weren't journalists started to play and review the game, and they determined that it wasn't good, so it brought the score down.
I think actually the thing that might have triggered it is the high scores. Well, I think you just said that anyway, but like,
I think it was the initial like big sites like IGN,
it's
like
IGN,
10 or whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
Which is like.
This is an example of like when in this clip that they're showing, you can actually hit a card or rewinds it. So that's as fail state as you're going to get, but you can completely avoid it without doing anything.
Is that an issue? Like because
if you just drive on the right, if you just skate on the right side of the road,
there's enough scores that not that it needs to be balanced out, but it's been balanced out by lower scores than that. Right? It didn't get universal acclaim. Like there were people who thought it was decent, not amazing. A lot of people thought it was incredible. So again, it's very strange that there's just been this furore around it when there are games that nobody batted an eyelid with, like Immortality, which is a great example.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Immortality. Can't speak on it.
Reception than this.
Yeah, exactly.
And people loved it, and nobody had an issue with it.
That's what makes it really confusing. I don't know why. I guess
they can't understand why people are criticizing this 10 out of 10 masterpiece.
I don't know, maybe it's IGN thing again. People have got a weirdness about IGN.
It's just co-writing classic songs. Exactly. That's the music is the best part of this game.
Haven't they in their reviews and stuff? But maybe I don't know what that one's. Be interested to know what IGN gave Immortality.
Yeah, at some point, I think I have the wrong time step here. At some point in this,
I mean, it's also
they say that the voice acting is fantastic or fantastical or something.
Like, I think I'm gonna have a look actually.
I'm curious about that now. There's other games like, their difference that bizarre is Wild Hearts as well. So
yeah, I can't. I thought I had the right timestamp. I guess I didn't. But they did. I promise you, they talk about how the voice acting is good, and this is what they're talking about.
This ain't a catastrophe. It's a warning. Daddy, if you trap me here...
Daddy, if you trap me here...
...will only be the beginnings of my wicked ways.
Who says that?
Because I'm angry and I'm wired and I'm fixing for a whole lot of trouble.
I can't even play the rest of it. Okay, anyway, so we already played this scene earlier. I'm not gonna play it more than I need to. Yeah, and again, I said this earlier, but like, I don't think it's the voice actor's fault. I think it's the writing. You can tell she is trying her best to make it sound presentable, but it's not working. A lot of these people are saying, here's what a lot of these people are saying. Oh, it's so nostalgic. It's so nostalgic, right? Here's what nostalgia is. Real nostalgia is longing for your own past, okay? Let me give you an example, right? Longing for a memory of your own past. Let's see here. I have to have it here it is. Here we go. Perfect example. Y'all know I'm a huge Crash Bandicoot fan. Okay. When I touch this game, right? This insane trilogy remake from the ground up, I touch it and I boot it up and I'm like, whoa, dude. It's almost just like I remember it, but it's just higher fidelity. It's remade. It looks better. You know what I mean? That's nostalgia. Because it's making me relive memories I had playing this. Right? The problem with this game, I feel like, is, and you can look up any review that glazes this game, they'll say the same thing, bro. Oh, it just made me feel something. It just made me feel something. Real nostalgia is longing for and reliving a memory of your own past. Fake nostalgia, which is what this game is, I believe, for most people who are saying it's nostalgic, is longing for a past you never had. So when people are saying this game is nostalgic, you cannot tell me that this scene is nostalgic for you. You know what I mean? So, I'm going to close with this. Is mixtape art? Is mixtape art? Is this game art? Yes. Yes, it's art. Is all art good? No! Not all art is good! Brother, I could splatter paint on a canvas, and it takes like 10 seconds, and then I can sell it for thousands of dollars because I can make up the story of like, oh, well, this game, oh, wow, this piece really just makes me feel and think. There's a deeper meaning behind how the paint is splattered on the canvas, and it represents this and that. But it's just paint all splattered on a canvas! Anyway. Let's get caught up on the chat. That's everything I have to say. Wow, we've been going for an hour 43. My goodness. Let's see. Trouser says, PR kits are part of gaming, though. I do agree if these PR kits are buying reviews, that's more about the reviewer than the game. Yeah, and I'm not against PR kits. Send out the PR kits, right? I'm not against that. But, like, this guy, the one guy that we looked at, he's saying, like, oh, they're not, like, it's naive, right? These PR kits aren't buying reviews because you're only averaging about $200 per kit. For some people and a lot of people, that's all you need. You would be surprised. Be surprised. Let's see. Yeah, I never knew who like a lot of these people were until recently. This is why I don't get sent review copies or why I don't get early access to things. I will be completely honest with you if I don't like it. If I do like it, I will tell you how much I like it. I'll still criticize it. I'll be completely honest with you. There weren't button commands for your first kiss? I don't know. Maybe that's the part of my past that I forgot. Maybe that's the nostalgia. I just imagine like your first kiss and you're going in, but in your pocket, you've got a Joy-Con controller and you're just like, oh, I don't have my Switch up here. You're just like, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. Okay, let's see here. Whatever Beethoven and Dinosaur come up with next has got to stick the landing. It has to be more interactive. It has to be potentially longer. It has to be something that resonates far better. I agree with you, Edward. And I think, like I said earlier, Mixtape would benefit so much if it was set up more like a game like Dispatch or like Until Dawn, where like you have dialogue options that affect the story, you have choices and things that you can do that affect how the story plays out. I would have loved that for this game. It would have made it infinitely better, in my opinion. Yeah, they can't argue against your points, so they start insulting. Yeah. And I don't think PR kits are a bad thing. There's even company laws, especially for journalism, that cannot even accept $5 gifts due to anti-corruption bribery rules. See, I didn't even know that. Interesting. Soundtrack movies and songs are a thing. Yeah, but they're movies. You know what I mean? You know, like, and like, even, and like, I'm not saying don't have licensed music in your games. Yeah, like, that's fine. But that's the only good thing about this game. I am struggling to see where the 10 out of 10 masterpiece is coming from. I don't get it. I personally don't get it. Saying ChatGPT wrote that insults AI. Crazy. I can put a cinder block in the middle of a hallway and call it the block of solitude. Genius. I'm going to do that and post it on my Instagram story. I think the voice actors aren't necessarily bad, but I do think dialogue could be done with a bit of tweaking. I agree with you. Feels like Life is Strange, but while Life is Strange is good, cheesy, this is cringe. Yeah. There's like good cheesy. Life is Strange is another example. I've never played the Life is Strange games. I have friends who love those games, but with good reason. Your choices matter, right? And there's like fun cheesy and then there's cringe cheesy. This is a lot of cringe cheesy. Yeah, the hour of Andy conspiracy. You guys saw Conspiracy Andy come out for a minute. You guys saw a different side of me today. So whether you stick around for, you know, the rest of my time on YouTube or not, hey, I'm cool either way. Cool with it either way. Yeah. More interactivity would have been better. If this game in Trousers, I know you're a big Dispatch fan. Imagine if this game was set up. Dispatch is a bit different because you have like heroes that you select to like do things, and like you're literally dispatching heroes on missions and stuff like that. But like, imagine if it was set up like that. This game would instantly bump up to maybe a 5 or 6 for me. Right now it's sitting at a 3 or a 4. Tokyo Mirage Sessions is cheesy, but it's a fun cheesy. Never played it, but like you can have cheese and it'd be fun. Mouse PI, you know, no pun intended with the cheese. Actually, no, that pun is intended. Intend your puns, you cowards. Mouse PI is an example too. Yeah, cheesy dialogue, but it's fun cheesy. And it works. They gave that a 6 and then they give this a 10. Okay. I think I said everything I wanted to say. I went way longer than I wanted to be honest. Holy heck. Way longer than I wanted to. But this was fun. That's what's brewing. Thanks for hanging out, guys, and for watching. I am going to be live again probably next week. We're going to pick up Persona 3 Reload again. I think I'm going to go live on Monday. I don't do Monday streams that often. I think we're going to play Persona 3 on Monday. I would like to do a Summer Games Fest What's Brewing podcast before Summer Games Fest and maybe something after Summer Games Fest. I'm just not sure when that's going to be yet. But you can expect Persona 3. Did I say Persona 5? Or did I... I catch myself doing that. I catch myself saying Persona 5 Royal instead of Persona 3 Reload, even though we're playing Persona 3. We've already played Persona 5. The brain rot is real. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys. So, thanks for hanging. This is a fun conversation. I said 3. Okay, good. The brain rot has subsided. I still catch myself sometimes calling Minato Makoto Tomato. I call him Joker every now and then. I still catch myself. Yeah, fun conversation. Yeah, those are my thoughts. Long one today. Hope you guys look forward to Summer Games Fest. I'll be there. We'll be talking about it before and after. And good stuff. Always love your takes. I always love your takes too, Trousers. And listen, I love anyone who disagrees with me. I always appreciate it. Okay? I appreciate the disagreements. It makes good content and good discussion. Okay? Hope that FF7 Remake Part 3 gets announced at SGF. Tune into the next podcast. We will definitely be talking about that. Hint, hint, wink, wink. All right. Thank you guys. Bambina, thank you for being awesome in the chat. Zach, what up, Zach? This podcast had me cracking up towards the end. Bro, I love you so much. I'm going to text you, bro. I'm going to text you. Good stuff. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys, and I guess I'll leave you with the intro that is also the outro. I don't know. I can't remember if I've done this for the live ones. If not, I'm going to do it again. But my name is Andy Brew. This has been What's Brewing, episode 9. I'll see you guys later.